The year is 1946. The German occupation has fallen, and Germany itself is now split into 4 sections. The main split is between East and West Germany, with the US, the UK, and France holding the West, and the then Soviet Union holding the East. After a year or so, both sides agreed on giving a select number of military officials access into each other's zones of occupation to act as liaisons. Originally created to help coordinate military affairs between the two countries, after 1948, they were soon being used as a way for both countries to conduct intelligence gathering missions on each other. The members had been authorized to enter the zone of occupation, although they still had to wear their traditional military uniforms and drive vehicles designating who they were still very risky intelligence operations. The activity was not legal or condoned, but the access was completely authorized. Originally, the agreements granted 14 personnel to enter East Germany at one time. Each branch of the military had a contingent force working on the mission. Most of the liaisons were U.S. Army personnel. The Air Force also had a large contingent, and the Navy only had one token slot, which was given to a Marine officer. Before the 2-man teams would leave on a mission, which generally lasted for up to 3 days, they were given general instructions on what to do and what to look for before they left. But while they were in East Germany, they had no contact with headquarters and were free to conduct surveillance as they saw fit. Listen to this audio clip of Brigadier General Roland LaJoie, who was chief of the mission in 1983.
The first thing you do is you plan for your mission.
Okay.
There's a small research staff at our headquarters in West Berlin who would lay out a 2 or 3 day tour that would take you past a bunch of facilities, static facilities, communications.
So like Soviet Army bases and things
Soviet
like
Army
that.
bases. And if we'd heard that there was an exercise going along or a river crossing operation, then you would be cycled around through that area. You want to put although this was a target-rich environment, if nothing unusual was going on, you would want to try to increase your chances of stumbling across some activity by programming your trip. Then you would leave. The officer was the chief of the activity, of course, and the Russian speaker. The NCO was a special trained driver, German speaker, and he would be responsible for the security of the team while they were deployed.
They drove 1980s Mercedes G-Wagons, specially made vehicles giving them the edge against Soviet forces and Stasi counter-surveillance. Listen to this Marine Corps officer, Major General Michael Ennis, going into detail about it.
They did have some modifications. We did take out some of the storage space in the back, and we had an additional capacity for our gas tank. So we had a cruising radius of about 900 kilometers, I think, or cruising range of about 900 kilometers. So we didn't have to fill up with gas, because every time we filled up with gas, the local East German gas attendant would call a Stasi. So all of our efforts to go clandestine would be gone, if you will. We had an 8-ton winch on the front of the vehicle, so that if we got stuck going down a Soviet tank trail, or if we had a flat tire on the front, we could raise the car up and with the winch, and that was extremely important because we went a lot of areas where there were not paved roads, and having that was very good. We also had infrared lights embedded in the front of the vehicle, so that at night, if we needed to go lights out, we simply turned on our night vision goggles, turned on the infrareds, and we continued on.
So you'd be driving, well, you'd have a driver, but the two of you would be in the car driving with night vision goggles on.
That's right.
Seeing the infrared that wouldn't be visible to anybody.
That's right.
Outside with the naked eye.
We actually drove down roads where Soviet troops in the middle of the night were actually congregated, milling around, having a cigarette or whatever, and we would just slowly go right on by, complete lights out, and could see them like daytime. And they had they knew we were there, could hear a vehicle, but they didn't know who we were. So yes, that was a...
And you could shut your taillights off too, I might have heard?
Yes, we could shut our taillights off. We could also look like a motorcycle.
How do you look like a motorcycle?
Well, you turn your right and left your right side lights off, fore and aft. So it looks just like a motorcycle going down the road.
Very good.
The officers would always pick up surveillance as soon as they entered, but because the East German forces were only equipped with two-wheel drive vehicles, mainly Ladas, the officers would take their Mercedes, jump on the Autobahn, and go faster than the Ladas were able to. After they lost their tail, they would begin to conduct military intelligence gathering operations, taking pictures, photographs, video of anything they could. The Army would be looking for things such as new military vehicles, tanks, and training areas. The Air Force would be tasked on gathering intelligence of enemy airplanes, airfields, and communication sites. Day after day, they would use handheld camcorders to record seemingly innocuous information, which would be sent back to Washington, D.C. headquarters. There, the information would be cataloged and analyzed by top American Soviet analysts. At night, the officers would sleep in their vehicles, although they usually parked near a railroad line in order to capture anything moving through the country. Listen to this audio clip by Major General Michael Ennis talking about one of their more risky missions.
All right, last question here. You told me, it's just an irresistible story. You told me when we spoke on the phone a few weeks ago, a story about an adventure in a Soviet bunker that I believe legend had it happen to your French colleagues, if I recall correctly. I can't let you out of here without getting you to tell that story. And I know you weren't there. This may be urban legend, but this was part of the culture, I guess.
There were a couple of incidents. One a couple that I will relate. One of the things that we did, if we went into a training area, we always looked to see if the Soviets left anything behind. Scraps of pit, and General LaJoie talked about this in the last Spycast on the military liaison mission. But this also included if the Soviets sometimes had command bunkers that they would, sometimes they would be guarded, sometimes they wouldn't be guarded. And so we always went to see if we could get in to see if anything was left behind. And when you go into one of these, whether it's day or night,
Have you been in one of these command bunkers?
Oh, yes, I have.
Okay, that
Yes, I
must
have.
also be a heart-pounding experience.
That is a heart-pounding experience.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
In one particular case, one of my colleagues actually went into this bunker. It was at night. And he was going through the labyrinth of rooms, and he saw a light that was on. And he went, and there was a bed, a fully made bed, and next to the bed was a glass of milk. And he thought this odd, there was nobody there, and he went to touch the milk, and it was warm. And he realized that he was not alone. Now that was for me, that would have been a heart-stopping experience, okay, to be underground in a Soviet bunker in the middle of a training area at night. And he got out, and
Nobody was any the wiser.
nobody was any the wiser. On another occasion, one of my French colleagues went down into a bunker. It was all dark, and he took a step forward, and somebody reached out and grabbed him on the shoulder. Now, this French officer was a commando, and all he did was grab the shoulder and, in the blind, took a punch and cold-cocked the Soviet that was right there, and then he got out of the bunker and went on his way. But no, that is going into one of those places at night is and we didn't use our night vision goggles. That was technology we could not afford to lose. So we kept those in the vehicle. So when we went into these bunkers, we didn't take any of our technical apparatus with us.
The Soviets established permanently restricted areas which covered 40% of East Germany. Oddly enough, the Americans respected those areas most of the time.
And you might occasionally, if you thought there was truly a quality bit of information in a PRA, in a permanent restricted area, you might mount a special operation, after giving it a lot of thought, to go inside that PRA. Now, you always got in trouble.
I was going to say, sometimes you
Inside
were
or
detained
outside?
or harassed, I assume.
Yes, we were always, of course. So we had a lot of incidents. We had detentions, and these detentions would be, for the most part, innocuous.
Now, what does a detention mean? And what's
So
happening?
detention means that you are no longer able to do your mission, that you're going down, maybe you're passing a convoy. You've got this long convoy that's got nice equipment on it, and you want to capture every single piece. Now, the people, your mission team knows more about that equipment than probably the people that are leading that convoy, because they've been there for 3 years and they've studied it. So you're going by, and in your recorder, you're carefully recording every single piece of equipment, every turret number, everything you can get. And all of a sudden, the vehicle in front of you pulls out directly in front of you. You have to slam on your brakes, and then you notice that somebody pulls in behind you. You are frozen in place. They then ask for your identification, and a little ritual then occurs that everybody knows their role. They say, give me your identification. You say, let me see the Soviet commandateur, who is the local representative. 45 minutes later, this chubby little major would show up, and he would ask for he'd show you his credentials, you'd show him your credentials. He would write out a citation accusing you of blatant espionage, photographing military equipment. Some stuff was accurate, some stuff was outrageous. And he'd say, please sign it. And you say, you Major, you know I don't sign that kind of stuff. And he'd say, okay. And then that would be it. You've lost maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then you go on your way.
So you've done this little dance, and then they let you go.
Exactly.
If you would like to learn more about the U.S. Military Liaison mission, please take a look at the International Spy Museum's channel. They put up new stories and videos all the time. And if you'd like to hear more about real-life spy stories, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Why not?